this game. I know where we are. I know it's a bunch of shows around this city, and I know what they do when the show is over.
Atlanta now moves on to face the number one seed in the East, the Philadelphia 76ers. No Embiid, no problem for the 76ers, who topped Washington 129-112 to wrap up the series. In the final game, Utah closed the book on Memphis with a 126-110 victory over the Grizzlies. Donovan Mitchell scored 30, while Rudy Gobert added 23 of his own. The Women's College World Series begins today. Alabama and Arizona play at 7 p.m., with Florida State and UCLA finishing the night off at 9:30. But you can tune into the ESPN networks all day to watch the action unfold. For our latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And here we go.
You're in the recruiting hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're the 2 o'clock.
Yes, I am.
Here are your hosts, Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer. Brought to you by Bubbles and Blocks.
Welcome into the recruiting hour. Mike Schaefer, Connor Happer here on 93.7 The Ticket. This is a recruiting hour from 2 to 3. If you would like to watch, you can catch our stream. I believe you can get it on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook Live. Happer gave me the thumbs up because I, despite sitting in this seat all week long, have not necessarily committed to memory a very simple thing.
Well, you'll get there.
But I did.
Eventually, it'll just be there. You don't have to think about it. It'll just be there.
Right. And, that'll be nice. That will be nice. It is Thursday. We're going to have Mike Sauter on. I actually saw Mike Sauter earlier this morning.
Sauter?
Yeah, Mike Sauter. I went to a football practice at Omaha Burke High School.
Whoa, wow.
Yeah, I got to see an OPS team in action.
You got to see the real-life Devin Jackson?
I saw Devin Jackson.
For the very first time, maybe?
Yeah. No, I've seen him at Warren Academy stuff, but, it was nice because they were wearing pads this time.
Ah, that is much better.
Sauter,
so is this MG camp?
This is MG, or locker room camp, I think is what it's called now. And so that's going on throughout Omaha, and today it was Burke and Westside got together. And so I went out there. Mike Sauter was out there because, of course, he's in the the very beginning of his 30-day challenge, which is basically he will be at a football field or on a basketball court during all of the 30 days covering something.
He decided that?
This is just his life. I mean, he calls it a challenge, but for him, it's just the month of June.
It's not really a challenge.
And I think, we'll, of course, have him on. And, of course, we won't talk about sports for the first 5 minutes. And in that time, we'll see if he knows how many months in a year he actually completes the 30-day challenge. So we'll get into that. But I got to tell you, Happer, it was nice to get around football again because it had been since the high school season for me to where you see it in person. It was great to get back over at Burke. Remember, Omaha Public Schools did not play.
People forget.
In the 2020 season. That is going to be detrimental for them.
Sure is.
In the 2021 season. We'll talk to Mike Sauter about that a little bit more. But the excitement level over there, the very first play, the way these camps work out, you have both teams on each side of the field kind of doing warm-ups and doing drills, working offense, working defense, then running against each other for a little bit. And then everybody kind of meets in the middle, and the JV goes to one side of the field, and the varsity's on the other side of the field. And Westside has the ball, and it's the very first play. So Burke is on defense. Dom Rizak, who I largely went to go watch for the first – I saw him when I watched Westside play a couple times last year, but wanted to get more eyes on him again. He was kind of held out for most of the portion of the practice that I was there, so that was a little bit disappointing. But very first play, Westside's running their patented stretch play, trying to get the running back around the corner, and 61 from Burke. I don't know who he is. It wasn't Jackson. It wasn't their other big linebacker because they have two of them. He came downhill and just delivered an absolute decleater, the very first hit for Omaha Burke that they've been able to have since 2019.
Did you storm the field?
They went bananas. Yeah. It was a great hit. If there's film of it somewhere, they would agree. I'm not embellishing it. It was a total ear holer. Running back is looking towards the corner, doesn't see linebacker, and just gets taken off his feet. doesn't fly in the. Nobody actually flies in the air unless Derrick Henry's involved and Josh Norman.
Their cleats do come off the ground though. Cleat. Yeah.
It was impressive, and then just like they were so. I felt so good for them.
That's awesome.
That was really cool. That was the good. The bad. Omaha Burke is reloading. They've got a new quarterback. They have Devin Jackson. They have a very small offensive line and defensive line, and their very first game of the year is against Bellevue West.
Oops.
So that's going to be a little bit difficult for them, but they will be. They'll be fun to watch. Omaha West Side. They're not devoid of storylines on their own. They won the title last year, and you have to turn around and you have to replace. It'd be one thing, okay, you have to replace Avante Dickerson in a given year. Okay. Well, you also have to replace Kobe Brett. So, that secondary is going to take a bit of a hit. Oh, Cade Haberman, the guy who no one ever talks about, but really good offensive lineman, defensive lineman for him. And then, who's tearing it up at the Shrine Bowl this week? Cole Payton. So
I am shocked that Cole Payton's doing well at a sports event.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
It's stunning. But so they have to reload over at Westside. They do have Dom Rizak running back for them. He, I believe, has one scholarship offer already, and I'm hoping to catch up with him here tonight and kind of see what his visit schedule is going to look like. But they also have the son of Chris Brown is their quarterback. Lost the first name. Brown. 14,
Mr.
number 14 Brown. He's going to be their quarterback. And they have Damon Benning's son is a wide receiver and defensive back for him. He's already playing on varsity. He's another one of these 2024s that people are going to learn.
What's his name?
Over time. Caleb Benning. And he is much bigger than his dad. It's kind of funny in a lot of ways.
Roasted.
Yeah. So it was great to get out. And like I said, we'll talk to Mike Sauter about other thoughts that he had. Burke has a new quarterback. Devin Jackson plays wide receiver, in which Sauter and I decided this is how teams would have to defend it. You basically have to have that one defender who takes away the curl, and then the one guy who plays way over the top, and you make Brown throw the ball you make the Burke quarterback throw the ball in that 15-yard window, which high school quarterbacks, unless they're pretty good, struggle with it. Even when they are good, they struggle with it.
So basically, you just dedicate one guy to only jamming him.
You kind of have to dedicate two defenders to Jackson,
But two guys for one guy, but one defender for a specific purpose. So the first guy is only there to jam him.
Well, it's just take away those quick throws.
Right. He's only there to just bust him up in the first 5 or 10 yards. And then the other guy can handle the rest potentially.
Yeah. And his recruitment has slowed a little bit. I'd be curious. I will catch up with him as well, but Arizona State still involved there and Miami involved. But I don't know Notre Dame, Oklahoma. I don't think he has anything scheduled with them yet. So we'll see how that plays out. But that's a little of the live action that I was able to see today, which was just nice. It was nice to get back out. I'm looking forward to Friday night. That'll be nice as well to see kind of who shows up. And then throughout the day on Friday, we won't be able to attend these. Nebraska's going to have quite a few guys working out. And so I'll run through some of those names maybe a little bit later in the show. Big visit weekend. On tomorrow's show on Friday, we'll just go through all of the names. We're going to discuss who's here, why they matter, what Nebraska's looking at those positions, all of that. And so we'll have kind of a more visit breakdown for Friday. We won't do as much of that here today, but there's still quite a bit of news just going on in Nebraska football, as there is all the time. MJ Morris is set for a decision right around
now.
So I was thinking it would start off this show. We can dive back into that. I am not expecting Nebraska to end up with a commitment here. So we might as well just kind of jump into the quarterback aspect of this. I think MJ Morris is going to end up at NC State, though Florida State, the school that he really wanted, they had 2 quarterbacks already. One of them decommitted last night. So I don't know if that shifted anything late in the game for MJ Morris, but we will see on that.
They're taking they're hell bent on taking 2 quarterbacks.
If they really are, I don't know. It's odd. It seems odd, but especially when one of them is one of the top 5 in the country, and so. But we saw that with Tagovailoa and with Mac Jones. So, sometimes it can work out that way. Nebraska's quarterback situation, though, another added sort of storyline, if you will. AJ Bianco now has a visit set for the 3rd weekend in June. He'll be coming out June 18th. And that, as I said on the morning show when I was on with Sip and Jake, is basically kind of like the where it stops for me. Like Nebraska will leave this month with a quarterback. Nebraska will leave this month more likely than not with either Richard Torres or AJ Bianco. That visit for AJ Bianco may not happen if things go really well this weekend with Richard Torres. So, that's where Nebraska's quarterback situation largely sits. I've had people ask me, I think it was even asked this morning, on the text line, if they would consider taking both of them or if they would take two quarterbacks in this class. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, you're talking about a class that could be 18 to 20 total in terms of high school kids or junior college kids. So you're already talking about a kind of a smaller class because remember, you have to get those numbers down.
We got the weird math coming in.
Right. And then on top of it, you also want to leave some spots for potential transfer portals players. So there's just a lot there.
Which you can now acquire and have immediate eligibility over the summer.
And so there's just a lot that goes into it, and it's hard for me to see them taking two guys that are kind of similar. Neither AJ Bianco or Richard Torres are guys that you expect are going to have like 100-yard rushing day, but they both have pretty big arms. They're both larger quarterbacks. They're both thicker players to begin with. But I feel good about where things sit with Richard Torres for Nebraska at this point. I think Nebraska has largely made it known to him that he is their top option at this point, that they want him, that they want him to feel wanted. And that's the reason that they got that visit that first weekend. And so if they can get in and get Torres to commit and he doesn't have to go see TCU for an unofficial or go to Kansas State for an official visit, I think Nebraska would be pretty happy with that situation.
Hey, slightly off topic, but whatever happened, where do things stand on the 2023 kid from Louisiana?
Reese Mooney?
Yeah.
So he is he was out here for the red-white game.
Right.
He has a great relationship with Nebraska. He's taking a couple other visits to see some other schools because I think his family has kind of pushed him like, don't get tunnel vision, at least see you have other schools that are interested, at least see if there's something there for you. And so this summer he's going to see, I think, USC, Illinois, Ole Miss. There's one other one in there. Might be closer to home or over in Texas. And then Nebraska was on the schedule for him to visit this summer. And of course, we're talking Reese Mooney, the 2023 quarterback. Those two sides have talked, and they think it'd be more beneficial if he came out in the fall for a game and got to see the game atmosphere. And so I think what you're probably setting up for is a kid that looked like he was going to make a decision this summer. It might get kicked out into the fall of next year. Nebraska's still in very good shape. The relationship there is still pretty strong. And that's another reason.
That's why I wondered, because it seemed like it was going to move quick and I hadn't heard anything.
And I think it might have, but I think his parents were like, hey, let's just, you can now see these places. You can now talk to these coaches.
Sure.
Like, let's not, you've got plenty of time here. And so I think that's sort of where things slowed down with Reese Mooney. And that's another reason why there's no reason to take two quarterbacks in the 2022 class, really, because if you already are going to have a commit for 2023, your room is going to stay relatively full. I think Nebraska would still kick the tires if there's a ranked guy or somebody that they want in the 2022 in the 2021 crop of things. So there's just a lot that can happen with all of this stuff. So I just don't think there's this urgency for Nebraska to have to take both Bianco or Torres, or both Bianco and Torres. They want one of them.
I would say the same thing. That makes sense.
I don't think it makes sense with that room either, because if like, let's say hypothetically you play it out, Adrian leaves, and then you're talking about one of Torres, Bianco with Smothers and Harburg for that job. Like, you have three options there at that point. And if you add a fourth, great, but you don't need two from the same class.
Yeah.
You're already dealing that with Smothers and Harburg.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have issues with that will have to come to a head.
Yeah. I am interested. I would like to dive a little further into the numbers game, because you've talked about this now, and I think Parker talked about it yesterday when we had him on, but just the idea that it is going to be a smaller class, I'm interested in that. And like, so obviously we're basing that off of there's going to be, a numbers backup like we've mentioned a couple of times here. And it's tricky to really do the math on, but I'm the way that it is trending, or the way that it has been over the last couple seasons here, they have, and I don't know what the exact number would be, but it feels like they've had enough attrition to almost just like, circumvent that. They're on, if I look at my distribution, I think they're at 85 live right now. Now they've awarded scholarships to guys like Jock Yan and who I think I
No,
assume,
those are semester-based scholarships. I should have said that
Right.
with Yant the other day. He will have that scholarship for the fall semester. It is not guaranteed that he will have it for the spring. More than likely,
but when you get it as a freshman,
it's usually a sign.
Yeah.
But some of those, like Wyatt Mazur, would get it for the fall season,
Right.
but he wouldn't necessarily get it for the spring season. So I do think that's at least worth pointing out.
Sure.
But Gant is expected to have a larger role.
Yeah.
And usually, like in an Andy Janovich case, like when a guy like that gets it and is also a starter, chances are they're not giving it back for the spring.
I don't think I'm going too far out on a limb to say Oliver Martin will probably get one of those.
Yeah.
They can have so if I just do the numbers right here, seniors that won't count against him: Culp, Stilley, Doman. What's the deal with what happens with Honus? I mean, Honus, I assume, stays on.
He could get a medical
Yeah.
hardship.
Yeah.
But
He counts toward the number.
yeah.
Dismuke and Deontay. So they can have 91 for this fall.
Mhm.
They could have 91 for this fall, and they're currently at 85. That's without Yant.
Yeah.
So then you back that up. They'll have those guys leave the program. They'll have a good crop of juniors, I think, leave the
I
program.
think I just counted 15 juniors.
They'll have a good crop of juniors that'll leave the program because they were supposed to be
Mhm.
seniors in a past life.
Other attrition that normally happens.
Other attrition that happens. Like, I don't know if it's going to be quite as much of a numbers crunch as maybe we're leading on.
Yeah, I think that to be safe, they're anticipating an 18 to 20 person class in that range,
Yeah.
probably closer to 20.
It might
And
be
then
able to bump up though.
On top of it, what it might just be is Nebraska might just move forward with the idea of 20 as kind of their cap
And
number.
I'm fine with that.
And then
for
what
portal.
the extra is the portal.
And I'm fine with that. And I actually would, I would sign off on that big time because I think honestly they've taken too big of classes in the first couple of years, and
Well, and a lot of that is because you were throwing darts and you needed to see what you had.
They had so much room that it
Yeah.
didn't matter how many guys they took. They weren't going to be able to get near 85. They weren't going to be able to bump up against that number because of the attrition that they had. So now that the numbers are a little bit more stable, and also there is a wrench in it with the pandemic thing, I'm interested to see where that goes. But I'm with you, Schaefer. Smaller class, or at least a tighter class, and then you save some at the end for the transfer portal. Maybe you'll have more spots than you think. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that and I don't think it's a situation where they would be opposed to taking 21 if it's a right high school kid or whatever. But I have gotten the sense in some conversations that it is a tighter they haven't slowed their offers, which is something that we've seen other programs have kind of slowed down in how many that they have offered. Nebraska hasn't necessarily done that, but inside that offer, there's just a tighter level of degree of, and it's going to be difficult. You already have Ernest Hausman as an inside linebacker, and if that's where you're slating him, that makes it harder for Tyler Martin, who has an official visit scheduled next week, who could also end up as an outside linebacker, or Gavin Myers, who does not have an official visit anymore this weekend and potentially could be coming sometime this month, or might just be, out in the cold at this point. So it's it makes it, there's very tough decisions coming up. And that also speaks to what Jake Applegate did on Tuesday, which is basically showed up, prove that he was worth that offer, because if Nebraska is keeping things relatively tight, they're not going to just go offer a guy that then they don't think can actually do anything for them. So I thought that was notable as well. And speaking of Jake Applegate, and we might as well throw this in there. We might as well just call this the opening splash now that we're about 18 minutes in.
Great idea.
The opening splash brought to you by the Pawnee Plunge in Columbus. It is hot, Happer. This would be a fantastic day to be at a water park.
I'd love to take the
You could
plunge
ride
today.
the flow rider. You could get into all of the water slides. The Pawnee Plunge, the premier water park in all of Nebraska, in Columbus. Be sure to check that out. Looks like it's a great weekend coming up for it too. Going to be hot. People are going to want to get to the water parks, and no better place than the Pawnee Plunge. So
93, 93, 91, 90. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
90s. It's summer, baby.
we skipped like we
The
had.
plunge is here for you.
We had long winter, sort of an odd spring where we never really got like that kind of nice run of like the 70-degree days.
Really, we're in it right now. These are our like 3 days of spring.
Yeah.
That we're-
And then
the
it's
last
just
3
summer.
days. Yeah, and that's oppressively
And it'll be
hot.
summer until it's winter because we never
Yeah,
get fall.
there's no fall.
And which makes me sad.
There might be 3 days of fall.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
They'll be the best 3 days of the year.
Yeah, somewhere in September and October. But yeah, it'll switch straight over to winter.
Do you think it's our penance because so many people have just glommed on to pumpkin spice everything that the earth is correcting itself by saying, fine, you want to do this?
Yeah.
And you're going to mock us, and by
That's a
doing
good
it
thought.
year round, we're just going to take away the whole reason it exists.
Yeah, it's a good thought. We're talking about we're drinking Oktoberfest in July.
I know.
Like it's ridiculous.
I love Oktoberfest.
I love Oktoberfest. It doesn't
I
mean
don't
I'm
want to
gonna
drink it in July. I don't want to drink it in July.
Yeah.
I want that nice 55-degree day.
Yes.
You're
what it's
sitting
there for.
outside by the fire
By the
pit.
time you want to drink it in October,
Yep.
it's gone. It
Yep.
doesn't exist anymore.
It's just unfair. Very, very unfair. Jake Applegate, though, picked up an offer from Minnesota, worked out there last night. He's now 2 for 2 in his camp workouts and offers. I believe Kansas State is next. Probably not a stretch to say that he's going to probably pick up a third offer there if Kansas State wants to be in business with Jake Applegate. So we'll see how that plays out.
I asked this to I think I asked this to Parker on one of the times we talked to him this week, but because I talked to him on Tuesday on my show and then yesterday.
You double dipped between two shows.
But I want to ask you the same thing. Do you think that other schools will, after, so Jake Applegate, for example, he gets a workout at Nebraska, he performs well, he earns a Nebraska offer, and that would be the green light for other schools to say, oh yeah, okay, they saw enough,
You'll definitely have schools do that.
let's pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Was Minnesota an example of that, or did he go?
Well,
up there?
he went up there and he worked out.
Okay, yeah.
And so, but I mean, like, if trying to think, like, if Lance Leipold and Kansas are just like, hey, we're not going to get the kid to come down to work out, but it was good
Minnesota
enough.
and Nebraska saw it,
Right.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not take a shot? I am still stunned that we have not heard a lot about Kansas in Nebraska.
I know,
yet.
yes.
It does not make any sense.
Yeah, I totally thought they'd
Each
be
new
all
coach,
up in
I'm
here.
like, yeah, this is finally going to be the guy that realizes, hey, instead of going south for everybody, I can come north and find a couple starters.
Oh, they could do it. Yeah.
And it just blows my mind because
Maybe they're going to hit the JUCO really hard.
Kansas football is not that good, but there are, there's waves of kids that go from Omaha to Kansas just for school.
Look,
to begin with.
It's a group of 5. You could be the a really high end group of 5, and even though it's in a Power 5 conference, a lot of Nebraska kids have gone to MAC schools and had a lot of success, and some of them ended up being some of the best players in the MAC. Stuff like that. I mean, there's no reason Kansas can't swoop in and grab those guys that are going to Northern Illinois. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that makes a lot of sense. But whatever.
Agree with all of it. All right, last bit of news here, and I don't have a ton on it.
Oh, we
but
do have an MJ Morris commitment.
We do. And he went to NC State,
That is correct.
which is what was projected.
There is also a picture of him playing baseball.
Baseball.
Is he a baseball guy?
He is a baseball guy, yeah.
Yeah, he.
Quite a few of their targets this year have been double sport guys.
Yeah.
Or baseball, football guys.
There's a picture of him playing baseball.
Which,
in
do you
the
know what
corner.
today is? Today is the Mitch Sherman tweeted this out. He had his big profile on Bubba Starling.
Oh
Like,
no!
Nebraska football,
Choice day.
Because I think he got drafted today. I think
Oh, is
today is the anniversary of that draft. So,
Is that right?
I think it is.
What was it? The anniversary? I didn't see Mitch's thing.
It might have just been the story that he ran, but I thought he ran the story congruent with the draft, and that would have been the 2011 MLB draft. And so maybe the story ran a little bit early. June 6th is when the draft was, so it's not today. It'll be on
Wow, look at this
Saturday.
huge story on ESPN. I don't remember the story, but I do
That was such an enormous story.
obviously remember Bubba Star. Oh yeah, what's he gonna do? Where's and he shows up at Fan Day and that whole thing in the fall. At the intersection of adolescence and adulthood,
How
Bubba
many-
Starling faces a choice.
Listen to these names in the top 10 that went alongside.
Oh,
of,
I always go back and look at that
of
draft.
Bubba Starling.
Yeah, the
This
2011
draft is loaded.
Yeah.
Because even the guys that weren't studs were pretty good. So Garrett Cole went number 1 overall. I would say the Pirates, right decision there.
not bad.
Number 2, Danny
Holson.
Holson from Virginia. Number 3 was Trevor Bauer. Went to the Diamondbacks, got traded from there.
So 2 UCLA pitchers in the
yeah.
top 3.
Nebraska faced UCLA that spring.
That's right. That's right. And
They
beat them.
they
or
went
split.
2-1,
Or yeah,
or maybe
I
they
remember-
split and they
because
didn't play the third game.
because that was the one where they came here, right?
Yeah.
And it was like 12 degrees.
Mhm.
And I was like, why is Trevor Bauer pitching at Haymarket Park and it's 12 degrees?
So when Cleveland traded for Trevor Bauer, because he was very active on Twitter, I tweeted at him. And I was like, what do you remember about playing Nebraska in 2011? And he just responded with, it was cold.
He responded.
Yeah, I
That's
should
great.
find that tweet.
It's awesome.
So basically, you have Trevor Bauer third, Dylan Bundy was 4th, Bubba Starling went 5th.
Yeah.
Dylan Bundy's now with the Angels. He's
He's had a
with
good career.
Orioles and Angels.
He's had a fine career.
Yeah, he's like a solid number 4 starter. Anthony Rendon,
Yep.
number 6 overall.
There's some good ones in the
I
20s.
forgot he
there,
went
too.
to Rice. For some reason, I thought he was like one of the Virginia run of really good
Yep.
hitters.
Rice.
Archie Bradley,
Yes.
who was thought to be going to be much better than he ended up being. He's with the Diamondbacks. now
But a
with the
good
Phillies.
reliever. A good reliever.
Yep. Francisco Lindor went 8. Javi Baez went 9.
Mhm.
Corey Spangenberg went 10.
Yeah, he's kicked around in the minors for a long time
Right.
now. Yeah.
George Springer went 11. Taylor Youngman, who I don't
Texas.
think he ever made it to the majors.
He may have, but it was brief.
Yeah.
Texas, right?
Brandon, yep.
Yeah.
Brandon Nimmo, who
Mets.
I believe was committed to Nebraska. His brother was Bryce Nimmo, who played for Nebraska.
Okay.
And maybe he wasn't committed, but there was at least a connection there.
By the way, did you see Bruns's tweet about the kid from Arkansas who is Jake Opitz's brother?
No.
They have their catcher is Jake Opitz's brother.
Oh,
That's the story. And I was like, that's crazy. Jake Opitz played here in like 2008.
yeah. Well, you know,
I
you
don't
can
know.
have gaps between.
Yeah, you sure can.
Did you see Brunson's tweet about his daughter spitting in his hand in the middle of his Zoom interview?
No.
Her half chewed food, and he's asking Will Bolt a question while his daughter just spits
Wow,
in his
that's
hand.
pro, man. That's
Yeah.
pro. No, I did not see that.
Yeah. So you want to be a sports reporter and have kids.
Shout out to Bruns.
Number 14, Jose Fernandez, R.I.P.
Yeah, dang, man.
Number 18, Sonny Gray, CJ Cron. This was a great draft.
That's very good, except
Very
for Bubba
good.
Starling.
Well, you know, he at least made it up.
I mean, the only two guys who haven't had good careers in the majors are Holton and Bubba, and those are guys who are both in the top 5.
Yeah, and then Youngman. So in the top 15, I don't know who Jed Bradley is. So, but basically 11 of your top 15 have been MLB regulars.
Crazy.
So
That's rare. The hit rate is that high.
yeah, that was not my plan to finish off that segment, but that was too good. We're going to get to break. We'll have Mike Sauter up next. He'll talk about his 30-day challenge. I issued him a separate 30-day challenge that he will also talk about that one as well. And we'll dive into all of the prep action in a busy, busy week.
You're listening to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Summertime is here and the temperature is rising. Beat the heat at Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus all summer long. Pawnee Plunge features a full day of fun for the whole family, including the Flow Ride, the only one in Nebraska. A large swimming pool, diving boards, a lazy river, climbing wall, and of course, massive water slides. It's a great place for parties or a great spot to lounge around all day long. Book your party by calling 402-562-4269. Come splash and play the Pawnee Plunge Way in Columbus from May 31st through August 8th.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Sand volleyball leagues are now forming in Sun Valley Lanes and Games. Their facility consists of 3 courts with high-quality sand, a walk-up bar for outside service, and a comfortable seating area for spectators. After league, head on over to their new green space to play long games with friends, or relax by the fire pits on their new patio. Volleyball not your thing? They also offer fun recreational cornhole leagues. Register online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
At MD Pain, we know chronic pain is a problem. It can lead to isolation, depression, and the inability for you or a loved one to live the life you want. That doesn't need to happen. Chronic pain can be effectively managed. The doctors of MD Pain wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. Get actual solutions with the most up-to-date, clinically proven treatment options available. No one has to suffer in silence. Get real treatment for chronic pain. Call MD Pain.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Brice concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Brice concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, volunteers across Nebraska have banded together to help our communities weather the storm. Let's take a day to honor their outstanding service through the Step Forward Awards. If you know someone who's made a difference in this difficult time, nominate them for the Disaster Volunteer Award. Go to serve.nebraska.gov and click Nominate Now. That's serve.nebraska.gov and click Nominate Now. Sponsored by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mike Schaefer here with 5-star child care provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and Blocks special.
We have 3 beautiful locations in Lincoln that provide the safety, security, and reliability you need while also bringing a family feel to each classroom at every location.
I also hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you. Yes, we just won the Lincoln Choice Award for Best Daycare and Preschool for the 3rd year in a row.
What should people do if they want to join the Bubbles and Blocks family?
Call to set up a tour to enroll your child today, or you can visit bubblesandblocks.com to apply to join our team.
Back to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer, presented by Bubbles and Blocks. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Hour. Mike Schaefer, Connor Happer. And now on the line, joining us, Mike Sauter from NEB Preps. Mike, how you doing?
From my basement today. Well, this afternoon.
But still from nebpreps.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm just trying to...
Very much so, nebpreps.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get your brand out there as you are for all 30 days in the month of June. How is the challenge going on day 3?
Pretty easy.
So far, so good.
I'm all in.
Yeah, so explain the challenge for those that are uneducated.
Yeah, so in 2019, obviously last year couldn't, I was on a basketball court or football field for 29 of the 30 calendar days in June. So the 30-day challenge this year is to be on a football court or a basketball field for 30 of the 30 days, calendar days in June.
Do you think you'll be able to accomplish this?
I might have to hit a softball field or something. I mean, whatever, some sort of a, high school sporting event working related. So I might have to switch up a little bit, but I have, my calendar is decently full through next week. So the last 2 weeks of the month might be a little bit more of a challenge, but I have something on the calendar every day through the 13th.
Don't you do this like every March though? Because if you think that you have soccer, baseball, those things starting up, basketball finishing up, it just seems like it'd be, and then you have AAU stuff like that you were doing right after the end of state basketball. I mean, I feel like March is another one where you'd be able to get 30, 31 days in.
Yeah, maybe. It's probably a good call. I like to take like a couple days. The Monday or Tuesday after state basketball is a little light. So those are the kind of day or two that I'd like to decompress a little bit. March is definitely one though. That's actually a good idea. Maybe I'll do 2 challenges next year.
You might as well, and then we can try to find you a third month for 2023.
Now, by accomplishing this challenge, what happens at the end?
He's raising NEB Prep's awareness.
Yeah, and I just I don't know, it's just a personal challenge that I have, a goal.
Would you like us to throw you a party?
No, don't need a party. Don't need anything like that. Just, it's just a weird, I mean, I'm kind of weird, a weird personal challenge. I also have another challenge going on, this month, but we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, I issued this challenge to you.
Yes, you did. No turkey sandwiches for the 30 days in June.
I think he's gonna crack
There's
in like
just
a week.
no way. There's no way.
I've made it this week so far.
He has made it the requisite 3 days.
Now, is this a problem? Are you addicted to turkey sandwiches? Do you feel like you are operating too much solely on the fuel of turkey sandwiches? Why is this something that you're going forward with?
Because virtually every day for lunch, I eat the same turkey sandwich with the same bread, same cheese, and Miracle Whip, not mayo.
Basically, the grocery store is going to take a severe loss.
Yeah.
Look, we probably should have clued him in on this.
Yeah. So it's Rotella's white bread twist, favorably twist.
That's a good one.
Bread from Rotella's.
You giving us your turkey sandwich recipe?
Peppered turkey from the Hy-Vee deli counter.
That's good.
And,
That's good stuff.
provolone cheese.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I would now I know you won't go for this, but I have tried some different meats over there that I put on the sandwich because I like to pepper turkey too. So I'll do a little bit of peppered turkey, but I will also I discovered recently turkey pastrami.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I knew you were going to say
Just
pastrami.
throw a couple slices on there. It's good.
Too spicy for Mike.
No.
Come on.
I'm pretty sure I've never had pastrami in my life.
This is my challenge to you. You have a third challenge. It's do pastrami one time.
I'll try it, maybe. A little slice or something.
Oh man, we need to
so many challenges.
It'd be great.
Happer, I have the palate of a 12-year-old. If you haven't,
That seems high.
If you didn't know,
it's okay. But that's what this is about. Because when you don't have turkey sandwiches this entire month, you will obviously. I mean, I think you'll maybe try to broaden your horizons a little bit. Maybe not. You'll just eat the. You'll
eat a lot of microwave pizza.
Yeah, what's it
rolls.
going to be instead?
I had I opened the freezer when I got home from Burke this morning, or around 11:30, and then said, "Oh, I'm hungry. What am I going to have for lunch?" And I had pizza rolls in my hand or a Hot Pocket, and I decided on the Hot Pocket.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can do it, folks. There's enough frozen food to get them through. I believe it.
Yeah.
So you were at Burke. I was at Burke. I was trying to explain to Happer the sheer joy on the Burke players' faces when on the very first play in kind of the live period between those two teams, the Burke linebacker absolutely lit up a West Side running back, and it was the first action they've had since 2019.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like that. They went like crazy.
Yeah.
After it wasn't like a just regular tackle. It was a hit. Like he laid that dude out. I don't know either kid's name, and that doesn't matter.
Agreed.
But,
I referred to him as Burke 61.
Yeah, that guy. He drilled this kid, and the sideline, everyone just went crazy, and I was like, man, that seems aggressive for, June. And then Schaefer reminded me, well, they didn't play last year. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm cool with this then. Like, no problem. It's pretty fun to see. I mean, good for those kids, those OPS kids that were the only district in the state that didn't play football last year when schools literally inside of their district, i.e. Prep Westside, were playing football, and I'm not bitter about that one bit.
Nah.
Well, you got
Not
your first chance to see Westside, life after Cole Payton, life after Avante Dickerson, Kobe Bretz, Kate Haberman. You got to see Burke, the new iteration of them. The last time we saw them, they had Xavier Watts, who we also saw today as he was strolling around the field. So what were your takeaways when you sized up Burke and you sized up Westside?
Yeah, my first one is Colby Brown, the Westside quarterback. He's obviously completely different, right? From totally different from Cole Payton, like not built the same at all, anything like that. But he throws a good ball. He's a nice quarterback. He'll be pretty good, I think. Have a nice year for them. Burke's line is a work in progress, I would say. Have some skill guys. One of their better skill guys, Donovan Moody, wasn't practicing or participating today. And really interested to see what they do with Devin Jackson defensively. I think he's just going to be like a
rover today. Yeah.
Guy on defense, like play some safety and some outside linebacker and just kind of really move him around. One of the Burke coaches I asked, I said, is he playing safety right now? And they're like, yeah. They said wherever the ball is going to be, that's where Devin's going to be. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So that works for me. But I do think their line play is going to need some work there a little bit. So, new quarterback from Cherry Creek, Colorado for Burke. He looks good. Had a nice day. Need to get some timing down and stuff like that. Katsky is his last name. So he'll be a name. Obviously, I think people talk about it a little bit more as time goes on here. But I like that. And I would have liked to see Dom Rizak in the, team live period stuff. But, he's obviously athletic and one of the better backs in Class A, or going to be one of the better backs in Class A for Westside. Had a really nice year last year, but they just kind of held him today in the live stuff. But he'll be good. Grant Guyette made some nice catches, and Westside wide receiver. He'll be good. I do think both lines for Westside and Burke will need some. There's some rebuilding, retooling that needs to happen.
So we found out the other day that you and I and anyone else that wants to go will be able to attend Friday Night Lights. Who have you heard in terms of players inside the Nebraska state lines will be attending Friday Night Lights and working out?
Yeah, Colby Brown is going to be there, the Westside quarterback, and another quarterback that I am I've been a huge fan of this kid since he was a freshman and started as a freshman at Gretna, is Zane Flores. Zane is a really good quarterback, throws a good ball, all that. Not overly mobile, so we'll see how he tests and stuff, but I think he's got a chance to do pretty well. I'm rooting for him for sure, but he's the biggest sort of name that I think I've heard that will be there on Friday, and good for him. I haven't talked to him, but I think he maybe wasn't a super big fan of the Nebraska offer to Daniel Kaline, who's a class below him, because Zane has actually played, more than under 20. I think it's 16. He's thrown more than 16 varsity passes in his life, right? So I would venture to guess that he's going to have something to prove.
We'll finish up with this. So earlier in the week, Jake Applegate went and worked out. He picked up an offer from Nebraska. On that day, I set the number at 3.5 for kids that'll go work out and earn offers at Nebraska. Now this, you mostly, the in-state kids, but there's some guys that are going to come over or from out of region that could push that number. Do you think that it could get to 4? Would you take the over or would you take the under on 3.5 for Nebraska camp offers?
3.5 is a solid number.
Thank you.
Man, 3.5 is really good number. I'd probably go with. So are we talking like Friday Night Lights too?
We're talking the private workouts and the Friday Night
private
Lights.
workout.
So it could be the 2022,
Okay, so-
2023, 2024.
Yeah. So any camp that Nebraska is holding, technically camp / private workout. I think it's probably, it might get to 4. I'd take maybe the over. I'm just gonna have confidence.
Mike Sauter taking the over. He has confidence. It must be
Yeah.
life without turkey sandwiches makes him more positive. Perhaps that's what
Yeah,
it is.
I'm pretty normally positive, aren't I?
Some days. It just depends on your mood. And if we're talking about the Jets.
Hey, speaking of mood, really quick, I know you got to go, but this is really quick. So I woke up this morning. Schaefer, I told you a story, I think, this morning when I saw you. But I woke up this
This is the
morning.
very first thing.
and I was-
Some people feel like we have very random beginnings of this segment. But when I meet Mike in person, it's random as hell as it starts. This is what he told me.
My day started with me waking up in a very great mood. For some reason, I was just in a great mood today. Great, fantastic mood today. And my music taste is extremely eclectic. Like, on Twitter, we were talking about Outkast and like how Severe and other people have never heard of Roses by Outkast.
Ridiculous.
Blew my mind. Yeah, that's insane. But I woke up with the song Tutti Frutti in my head by Little Richard. So I walked down the stairs, and my wife's in the kitchen getting lunches ready for my kids, and I just start singing the song, and she's like, "It is way too early for all of that. What is wrong with you?" And then I'm like, my 4-year-old's awake and like watching Peppa Pig, I think this morning it was. And so I just grabbed my phone and I played Tutti Frutti, the song, and my daughter has literally never heard this. And so we just start dancing in the middle of the living room at like 7:15 this morning to Little Richard's Tutti Frutti. And I haven't gotten that song out of my head all day because on the way to daycare, I gave them a little lesson in 50s kind of rock and roll music with, I played obviously Tutti Frutti again. And my 2-year-old was like loving it. And then Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis, like stuff like that. I just played that for them. And it was really fun. We had a great kind of ride to daycare. And I was singing and kind of dancing as driving the whole way there.
Yeah, and you're going to play some Buddy Holly when you pick him up.
I'm not picking him up today.
Oh, well, you ruined that joke. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time as always. Next week, we'll dive into a little Isaac Trout. I know he had Creighton earlier this week, Nebraska this weekend for his official visit. Basketball, visitors are going to be on campus as well. And so we'll get into all that more next week when we have Mike Sauter on. Mike, we appreciate it. You can check out his stuff at NEB Preps, where he promises at least 2 stories from him every day this month as well.
Challenge.
That is a professional challenge. Yes, is to have 2.
The man loves
at
the
least
challenge.
2 pieces of content from me every day for this 30-day period, which would be, a decent little challenge.
So that's what that's
Looking
what people
forward
can look
to
forward
it.
to.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Tyreek Johnson, the defensive back from Ohio State that was spotted on Nebraska's campus here today.
Wow. Do we have well-embedded moles?
We I have confirmed that he was here. I don't know.
Has anybody out there seen
I
it?
have well-embedded sources, yes.
I will say this: well-embedded moles have seen him around town.
Yeah.
In places.
Yeah.
At places.
He has been at places. We can confirm. All right, we'll talk about Tyreek Johnson next.
You're listening to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I don't know about you guys, but I have been getting back out and hitting different restaurants, hitting different places, and I could not be more excited to get back to Bearshin in Benson, one of the best beer gardens around. The weather's starting to get good, and coinciding with that, they are going back to their full food menu. We're talking the burgers, the Johnny Hammer Pants sandwich, the pretzels, the fries, the salads, if you're one of those people. They got all of it. And they are now open Tuesday through Sunday. that allows you to get over to Bearshin, check out the food, the beer, hang out in the beer garden. You can get that $7 Big Cheese Double Wagyu burger special on Tuesdays. Also, happy hour, 3 to 6, Tuesday through Friday. Don't miss it. Plus, if you're a soccer fan, it's the place to be in Benson.
Summertime is here and the temperature is rising. Beat the heat at the Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus all summer long. Pawnee Plunge features a full day of fun for the whole family, including the Flow Rider, the only one in Nebraska, a large swimming pool, diving boards, a lazy river, climbing wall, and of course, massive water slides. It's a great place for parties or a great spot to lounge around all day long. Book your party by calling 402-562-4269. Come splash and play the Pawnee Plunge Way in Columbus from May 31st through August 8th.
At MD Pain, we know chronic pain is a problem. It can lead to isolation, depression, and the inability for you or a loved one to live the life you want. That doesn't need to happen. Chronic pain can be effectively managed. The doctors of MD Pain wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. Get actual solutions with the most up-to-date, clinically proven treatment options available. No one has to suffer in silence. Get real treatment for chronic pain. Call MD Pain.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 10 to 7. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Hi, Andy Neal of Cartridge World. We are not a big box store that sells everything and specializes in nothing. Cartridge World is your local expert when it comes to streamlining office printing and scanning. No big box can match our proven no-cost lease program. We customize solutions that supply you with multifunction printers and all the required service just for buying Cartridge World ink and toner at a 30% savings. Call for a no-cost consultation, 464-3455, or go online to cartridgeworld.com.
Wanna bet? Las Vegas is miles away. The sportsbook at Ameristar Council Bluffs is much closer. We're your 50-yard line, behind home plate, center court ticket, to real-time odds and over-unders. We've got all the action and the best odds in town. So grab the crew and place all your bets on all your favorite teams at the Sportsbook at Ameristar Council Bluffs.
Must be at least 21. Terms subject to change. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. Sports betting is legal in Iowa and not Nebraska.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have transports rolling in with fresh new inventory, but our leftovers must go. So right now at Koppel, get a brand new Chevrolet Trax starting for $16,966. That's over 30% off list price. That is not a mistake. A new Chevrolet Trax for $16,966 or 30% off MSRP. You must hurry now. These will not last. Visit KoppelCars.com or make that drive right down 144th Street, stock number C288423.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Brice concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Brice concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Sand volleyball leagues are now forming in Sun Valley Lanes and Games. Their facility consists of 3 courts with high-quality sand, a walk-up bar for outside service, and a comfortable seating area for spectators. After league, head on over to their new green space to play lawn games with friends, or relax by the fire pits on their new patio. Volleyball not your thing? They also offer fun recreational cornhole leagues. Register online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
Back to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer, presented by Bubbles and Blocks on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One final time here on the Recruiting Hour. Mike Schaefer, Connor Happer, 93.7 The Ticket. If you missed that interview with Mike Sauter, you can check it out at theticketfm.com. You can download the Ticket app. You can find it the podcast version of it, and it's pretty good. I think it's going to be kind of a. There's basically going to be fun to see, besides Bell West and Lincoln Southeast, who else sort of steps up in Class A football in 2021.
Would you say that those are
the two favorites?
Interesting.
Yep. And so Elkhorn South is going to be really good too. So you can't ever count them out.
What's Lincoln Southeast going to do at quarterback?
Well, they have some stuff to figure out. They are awash with big players and athletes.
Yeah, as is tradition.
The one thing they haven't had like that just offensive guy who just carries them in a lot of ways. You kind of know what I mean? Like
yes, I do. Yeah.
And so like they're so good in all the other aspects where it's just like if they had a quarterback that was like a Cole Payton, they would be even more dangerous.
The running back that they had 2 years ago, he was a transfer, I think, from Northeast. I can't remember his name at this point. He was a good player. He was their kind of horse, and then they pieced it together with Bridger and Butenbach last year. Now it'll just be Butenbach.
Butenbach will be back.
Yeah. But they lose their quarterback. But yeah, still flush with talent and big dudes. So yeah.
Speaking of talent, former 5-star defensive back Tyreek Johnson is in Lincoln today. He is taking a visit with Nebraska. I mean, he has entered the transfer portal on May 12th. He started his career at Ohio State. Basically, he hasn't had like a standout career for Ohio State, but
he hasn't really played all that much at all.
He's been behind some of the best defensive backs in the country.
Yes, yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's hard because I think there's quite a bit of talent there. At the same time, you would like to see, you could point to more stuff. He played in 4 games in 2020, had 5 tackles, does not have an interception yet in his career, played in 8 games in 2019. These are largely special teams roles that he was on. And so he's just a guy that he's looking for an opportunity somewhere to play. Nebraska obviously has extended their level of interest. We know that they want a defensive back to come in with one of their 2 remaining spots. Tyreek Johnson would be a really interesting one there. There is a little bit of a connection with Nebraska. He knows Deontay Williams, the defensive back for the Huskers, who played at Trinity Christian Academy, same high school. Those 2 crossed paths. I think Williams is a little bit older, so it would have been, I think senior or sophomore year.
I think I think 2 years old.
So that is at least a name to kind of keep an eye on in the transfer portal. Remember, Nebraska has 2 spots to use there. I don't know where else Johnson is looking besides Nebraska, but if we hear anything more, we'll certainly keep people informed on that information.
A lot of dudes on campus this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll go through it all tomorrow, but it's a big weekend.
It's
basketball too.
Yeah. It's just going to be fun. I mean, the campus is actually going to be like the epicenter of life again, and that hasn't really been the case for a while. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to seeing Zane Flores get out and throw. We didn't talk to Mike about Daniel Kalen much, but I would have to imagine Zane Flores probably feels a little bit looked over.
Well, that's what Sauter said. Yeah,
and so he'll get out and he'll get a chance to state his case. I've watched him throw a couple times at Warren Academy events. I have not seen him in a game yet, and so this will be another camp setting. But he throws a good ball, and so I think that there's a chance he could impress. The problem Zane Flores might run into, Nebraska very much likes Reese Mooney in that 2023 class, so we'll see how that plays out. But that should be fun to see with that camp. And, of course, those visitors are going to be floating in and about, and that'll be fun too. So tomorrow's show on Friday, we'll run through the visit list. Michael Brunts will join. We'll talk a little Arkansas, Nebraska, all that and more tomorrow. Finish out your week well.